Hello, my name is Karin. I do interactive virtual programs at Royal Botanical Gardens to both adults and children globally. I'd like to share with you some easy things that you can do to enhance your yard and improve pollinator habitat. Planting native plants to support various pollinator food needs is a great start, but there's even more that you can do. They also need water, shelter, and space. Today I'm going to show you some things that you can do in your yard to address those first two, water and shelter.
Pollinators like bees and butterflies need water just like every other animal. When it rains, it's easily available on the plant leaves. But when it's drier, you might help those pollinators by putting out a little bowl like this. Fill it with rocks and then add some water. But don't cover the rocks. You need to make sure that there's something for those bees and butterflies to land on, and then they can dip their tongues or proboscis to get the water. Another source of water, and actually minerals, is a little bit of mud. So, pour a little bit of water onto that muddy place, make it into a nice little slurry, and that might also be a place where insects might get their water from, as well as extra nutrients.
This is a redbud leaf, and it's one of the many species of plants that leafcutter bees use to take little sort of postage type pieces from that leaf, and this will be used to line their egg chambers in their nest. And there are a few other species such as rose leaves and maple leaves. Well, you'll often see these little holes. Don't worry about them, that's exactly what you want to see. Some of you may use rocks to line your garden, and you're actually doing something helpful for pollinators, actually for a lot of insects. Being ectothermic and using the environment to warm up their bodies, these rocks warm up and actually are a place for insects to bask on and warm themselves up in those cooler days. Now these just may look like little old pieces of wood, but for some insects these are really important because they might use these for their nests. So keep some old pieces of wood lying around, tucked away in some sheltered spot, because you might be providing habitat for bees or other pollinators. Here's a nice little patch of swamp milkweed that I've actually left the stems up from last year, and those stems might potentially be habitat for solitary nesting bees that will lay their eggs in these hollow stems, and they also might lay their eggs in pithy centered stems such as raspberry. These plant stems actually provide habitat for a lot of different pollinators over winter, such as this goldenrod. We took some of it and other things like our raspberries and other plants, and we bundled them together, and you can see, if you look carefully, you can see that there are little holes that have been excavated out of those pithy stems. And that is because a bee has done that to create a little nesting chamber for its eggs. If you do end up cutting some of your plant stems down in the fall, just bundle them together and put them to one side, because they may already be the nesting site for some pollinators. So I hope when you look at your yard, you'll consider some pollinator enhancements I've demonstrated that provide two key elements: water and shelter. Remember, everything you do will improve the habitat and ultimately the biodiversity of your green space. You never know what might take advantage of what you've done.